Wax.
Yeah, it's like thick goo. Is that the same?
Yeah, I can't keep up with the slang. Right? Wax at one time at least meant resin, like hash. But it's, I mean, you know, I write for high times, like you think I'd be totally on top of all this shit, but it moves faster than I can even move. It's astounding. So, and see, next week, wax will mean crack, right? Like the slang just goes so fast. What's the deal with potency? This is the argument I often get. It's like, oh, it's not like it was in the 70s. Marijuana now is 1,000 times stronger. Right? If marijuana now were 1,000 times stronger, it would be all THC. Right? What was really going on? Okay? In the 70s, we didn't know shit. We still don't. But at least we know this. If you take pot and throw it in a hot evidence locker at the police station, the THC degrades. Not a stunning surprise. This is why most folks throw their pot in the fridge. Okay? Or smoke it quickly. After it's been sitting in the hot evidence locker for a month, the police are like, oh yeah, we're supposed to send that shit down to Mississippi to get it analyzed. Oh, okay. Okay. Do they send it in a nice cold pack overnight, Federal Express? No, there was no fucking Federal Express in the 70s. Okay? They fucking had a pony and a covered wagon to take the pot down to Mississippi. Right? So then they get it down to Mississippi and they're like, oh shit, it's 1% THC. Right? So they say, so back in the 70s it was 1% THC. Okay. 1% THC pot in the lab gives you a headache. That's it. Right? You can't tell any difference between that and the placebo weed. So I think it's rather unlikely that all the pot in the 70s was 1% THC, or it never would have caught on. Right? I'll ask my dad about that, and he'll be like, it's a lot stronger now. I'm like, okay, Dad, you're also fucking old now. Right? But the bottom line is stronger pot a bad thing? Okay. Only if you smoke as much as you used to. Right? Who's had the one-hit wonder? Who's had that totally great pot where you're like, wow, one hit is, I fucking need to start doing fractions. Right? Well, how much respiratory irritation is that going to cause if you're not even smoking very much and still getting the same subjective effects? Okay, what happens is, and I went to Columbia, like the jocks at Columbia, I mean, let's be honest, they're not that much of a jock if you're a jock at Columbia, but they'd be like, come on, dude, clear the fucking bomb, you can do it. Like it was a sport, like you're going to smoke pot competitively. Right? That's just retarded. Right? How about this? I'm already high. I'm high enough, thank you. I got an idea, let's save some for tomorrow. Right? So in fact, stronger pot from a respiratory harm reduction perspective may be a good thing. Why? Because you smoke less. All right? The big deal on cannabis and cognition that I feel like really gets lost is the distinction between acute and chronic effects. What happens right after you just used it? You get tired, right, Ashley? Are you tired right now? Did you do big long paper before class? Versus chronically. Smoking every day for a year, but you're not high right then in that moment. Okay. The problem is, people who smoke every day for a year, it's kind of hard to find that moment where they're not high. Right? So when we do these studies, we have to be careful. Right? But say, oh, smoking pot every day for 3 years makes you bad at this task. Well, is it that, or is it that they were fucking high at the time? Right? And we want to make sure we draw that distinction before we start saying these are the effects of chronic cannabis use. Follow? Well, acute effects, let's be honest. If you just smoke pot, you may not be the sharp, memorizing, checkbook balancing, arithmetic genius you normally are. But there are some things that are really not effective. Even totally baked, easy learning is still possible. So these paired associate tasks, the easy ones, have a list of words, one word goes with the next. All right? A paired associate from the easy list, one word is baby, the other one is cries. So when I say cries, you say, and when I say baby, you say, okay, even stoned, you can learn that. What else is probably unaffected? Remote memory. Emma, what was your first grade teacher's name? Mrs. Cordano? You're right. There's not enough pot in the world to make Emma forget that. Okay? Stoned as a hell. Okay? Remote memory, stuff that's already in long term, it's staying. Just not effective. So this, I'm so stoned I don't know my own name. That's unlikely. Okay. A few areas that are possibly affected, simple reaction time. Okay, and this is what gets everybody all worked up about the driving stuff. Right? If you get stoned enough, and I have it, you got to press the space bar as soon as you hear the beep. You slow down by a couple hundred milliseconds. Ooh. Right? So don't fly a plane high, okay? Disinhibition, okay? What's disinhibition? I can't inhibit the dominant response. Right? Does this happen during cannabis intoxication? Well, if the dominant response is eat chocolate cake, it's pretty fucking hard to inhibit. Okay? But how is this measured? It's measured by the Stroop task. What's the Stroop task? Becca. Alright? In red ink, I have the word blue. And you look at it and you're supposed to say red, because you're supposed to name the color of the ink. The problem is you have to inhibit the reading response, which is much more trained, blue. Okay? What a surprise, stoned people can't do this. Why? Because it makes them crack up fucking laughing. I'm reading the word blue in red ink and I'm going to say red, that is retarded. Right. Who else is really bad at this? Kids with ADHD. Right. So I had to give it to this kid with ADHD and he totally kicked ass on it. I was like, okay, now name the ink on all these. Red, green, but I was like, wow, dude, you did a great job. How'd you do that? He's like, I can't read. Alright, where else does it fall apart? Vigilance tasks. That horrible fucking Macintosh clock that I talked about with the nicotine, it's going to move 1 second at a time, but every once in a while it's going to move 2 seconds, and then you've got to hit the space bar as fast as you can. Kill me now. Right. What a surprise, stoned people can't do that. Why? Because it's not fucking worth it. Alright? In all honesty, you're doing that task, you're high, you're like, this is the ultimate buzzkill. How much would you have to pay me to press the space bar correctly to make this work? Right? And then the continuous performance task. This one, oh God. Oh. So here's the computer screen, and numbers are going to come up one at a time. 6, 4, 9, 2. And every time it's an 8, you hit the space bar as fast as you can. Are you fucking kidding me? Right. Now let's be honest, you're really high and you're doing that and you're like, oh, it's an 8, I'm supposed to press, oh shit. Oh, I forgot, oh, what is it now? It's an 8 again, oh, right. So what a surprise, yeah. People who are high can't do that. Okay, probably affected perception. Duh. So time, guess what happens to time?
I'll give you a pen.
Now space, things seem farther apart, but as we talked about with the hallucinogens, time and space are really the same thing. Oh, you don't remember that? Nobody dropped acid since that class? How do they ask them? They say, blah, 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 we're going to drive in this car. How long have we been? And I don't know. How far did we go? Oh, really far. All right, so it's a little confounding. Color. Dude, the colors. All right, in fact, we see some strange problems with fine distinctions among the blues, but all in all. And then those crazy 3D illusion things. When I taught in LA, everybody had been to Disneyland, so there's some that are sort of sailing there. But you know those crazy things that you look at them and your eyes will pop and it'll go into 3D? Those stone people have a hard time with those. Reading aloud, okay, especially reading aloud backwards, that's really hard when you're high. And then arithmetic, okay, because that's what you want to do when you're high, is find some integrals.